Hi guys, welcome back to Lux Munch and Motivate. This is Lux. I'll be doing chapter 5 recap. So this is going to be part 1 of chapter 5 recap. So just a word is that Colleen Hoover, she doesn't divide her books into Verity into part 1, chapters into part 1, part 2, part 3. I'm just doing it because if I do some chapters in one sitting, it's gonna take 20 minutes to finish one chapter or a recap on that. So that's why I'm dividing it into parts. Anyway, so again, this is gonna be so unhelpful and unorganized. I'm so sorry about this. I'm just doing this because so that I motivate myself to finish this book that my bros girl, she gave this to me like a year ago. So I'm just posting a video on this every single day, hopefully, so that I finish this book and then I'll be able to talk to her about this book. Like share my thoughts and have like some good a deep conversation, because I do I am opinionated. So let's see. So anyways, so chapter 5 part 1. So this one, so Lowen just finished reading chapter 1 from Verity's manuscript, So Be It. So remember, Sloan finds So Be It in Verity's laptop when she was searching through Verity's laptop to see if she could find any any document or any file where Verity is like, oh, these are my plan for book. These are my plan for my future books. So she gets but she finds So Be It. She finished reading it. And Lowen does feel guilty about it. She feels like she's going through Verity's personal belongings, which she is, by the way, but she feels like she's going through like her underwear and all. But anyways, after finishing chapter 1, Lowen realizes like it's already like 11 p.m. and so she came to the Crawford home at around 7. And then she also note down how like it's so eerily quiet her office is, which by the way is actually Verity's office. And so there's probably like a soundproof attached to it. And and she gets hungry, so. And she remembered Jeremy does encourages Lowen to make herself at home, and so Lowen goes to the kitchen to grab herself something. But on her way, like by the stairs, she hear like creaking sound, and the sound that you hear when people are having sex, when their bed creaks. Lowen thinks that Jeremy might be forcing himself on Verity. Verity she cannot get, because she's like bedridden. She's probably bedridden, can't move or can't talk, and she cannot give her consent. And so Lowen is kind of concerned, and she's like, I should do something about this. She thinks about it, but then just as she turns around, she comes in face to Jeremy. Jeremy's like, he apologizes for this, and he explains that the creaking sound, it's all from Verity's bed. Verity's bed is a hospital bed, so it's a mechanical bed that moves, and it helps in Verity's recovery. it has like pressure point which adjusts every like 2 hours to help her with Verity's recovery. And so after explaining that to Lowen, Jeremy invites Lowen to have some dinner together. And so they reheat some leftover pizza, pepperoni pizza, and then they sit down and have a conversation. And I don't know if I mentioned so far, Lowen is very much attracted to Jeremy. I don't know if I mentioned, but she was indeed disappointed kind of disappointed seeing Jeremy's wedding ring, knowing that he's a married man. So while they're having pizza together, Lowen cannot help but think about the spicy moment Verity wrote about Jeremy, like, what they did and how he was in her manuscript. So she cannot help but thinking about it. And so while eating, Lowen pretends innocent. Okay, pretends to be innocent, and she asks Jeremy, how you guys met, how you met Verity. And I would say word for word to what Verity wrote in her book. Jeremy's like, so Jeremy's being maybe honest. He's like, their first encounter was at a party where she wore a red stunning dress, and they pretty much left together that night. And he took her to a wrong car. He took her to someone else's car. They had a nice conversation, and then pretty much they were pretty much inseparable since their initial meeting. So word for word, it is kind of, it does follow what Verity wrote in her manuscript. And then after that, Jeremy does reveal that Verity was in grad school when they first met, and only like after quite a while, Verity finished writing down her first book. And he said that he was pretty much busy with work, and he would come home late at night, and she would write this book to pass time. And after publishing her book, their life, Jeremy's and Verity's lives, changed dramatically overnight. And with that, her books sold for was a best-selling novel. And Verity loved the spotlight. She loved it. She loved the fame and everything, while Jeremy was the opposite. He preferred being home with his children instead. So here he mentions children. Remember how now he's using a plural word. He realizes this now that he only has one child, not children. And then it does impact him, and he realizes it, and he corrects that I prefer being home with Crew, my son. And then Jeremy does explain that sometime that he forgets that his daughters are gone. He expects them to come running downstairs, and he kind of finds sometimes their socks and their hair. It's all over their hair stands, and he sometimes calls their name accidentally, like Chastine. Their names were like Chastine and Harper. He calls their name accidentally, wanting to show something, and he does say this, and where Lowen, she doesn't trust fully Jeremy, but she thinks there's more to this than what Jeremy lets on. But she does feel bad for Jeremy. she's sympathetic, and she shares her mother's loss. How the first week after her mother died, she would make breakfast early every morning, only to remember that mother has already died. And then Jeremy's like, I don't know if I'll be able to get used to this, or forget it, or get used to it, or forget it after a long time. And then Lowen says, yes, maybe if you change location. She does suggest that when you change location, it does help, like when you change houses. And Jeremy's like, nah, I don't want to change houses. I want to remember them. And Verity's like, I can't agree more. And at this answer, Jeremy's like just watching her intensely. And Jeremy, I also didn't mention this, but Jeremy has this way of looking at people, or at least that's way of looking at people. Like, he can tell when someone is lying, when someone is telling the truth. So that's what Verity says in her autobiography in the first chapter. So Verity, she lies about her age, that she's 24, and Jeremy knows instantly that she's lying about it. So he also lies, too, but it's playful. She's not a minor, if you guys worry. She's not a minor. He's not dating a minor. I don't think Verity wasn't a minor then. She's in grad school, remember? Probably 25 or 26, I don't know, 27 or 22. So yeah, don't be concerned about that. But yes, Lowen also, so yes, Jeremy does have a way of staring at people, letting them know that he doesn't believe in their lies, which makes people believe that he knows when they're lying. And so yeah, this kind of spooks, or kind of like tense. And remember, Lowen is also attracted to Jeremy, so this kind of tenses her up. So she's like, okay, I'm gonna get going. And he's like, yeah, I'm gonna go get going. I need to get Verity her meds. So they say ciao, and then he's off to washing their dishes, and Lowen is off to heading back to chapter 2 of So Be It. Like, the more she spent times with Jeremy, the more she cannot wait to get back to the manuscript, to get to know Jeremy through Verity's eyes. Yeah, that's where chapter 5 end. Chapter 5, part 1 end. Part 2 will be chapter 2 manuscript. I know this is so confusing. I'm not even making any sense, guys. Sorry about this. But yes, before this part 1 finish, Verity does lock her bedroom. Remember, Jeremy lent his and Verity's master bedroom to her. So, but then there's no lock to it. So Lowen does bring her a drawer, and she puts it on front of the table, front of the door, to block someone else from opening it. And she locks, she kind of locks her door like that, and she heads back to reading chapter 2. See you guys. I know this is so unhelpful. This is 50 minutes already long. Sorry.